James O'Keefe. I'm captain of the Massachusetts Pirate Party, and I'm joined by Joe, Quartermaster Joe, who's doing recording, as well as Malt and Steve. How have things been with the two of you?
You first, Malt.
I have been hiding in the woods. I have been generally making a decent ally of myself by not exacerbating situations further. So, yeah, I'm fine.
I am, I am hanging in there, taking it one day at a time, and we'll come through the other side of this eventually. So yesterday, I was able to participate in an event called the Ride for Black Lives. So this was a Black Lives Matter demonstration where all of the participants were riding bicycles. So being a bicycle kind of person, this was right up my alley. We left from Franklin Park in Boston, rode around Dorchester, Roxbury, and I think parts of Roslindale and back up to Nubian Square. But it was the weather was good for riding, and it was a rather, it was a really cool experience. And in a way, it also, reinforced one of the things I've been trying to get my head around. One of the central issues around Black Lives Matter has been racism and structural oppression in the United States. And as a white person, I find it difficult sometimes to get my head around structural racism just because, it is the system. And if it's what you've been, kind of doing for much of your life without realizing that, things have been set up to benefit some groups and not benefit other groups, it's sometimes difficult to see what you do and how that affects other people and the advantages that you have and that others necessarily don't. We'll just say in at least a couple of points, it was kind of humbling to, be put in my place slightly by some of the event speakers. And they were just doing this generally because, it's like, well, all you white folks, I'm glad you're here, but realize that you ain't done crap for us. And that needs to change. And, it's a little painful to hear, but it's also, I think, necessary for us to hear that. So that was, that was my day yesterday. Overall, it was a good time and some good lessons.
Thanks, Steve. Malt, what happened with the Police Lives Matter protest? There were a few people there, weren't there?
Super fun America.
Promote values of fun.
This is how far right activists work. They seize onto white identity grievance politics and then use that as a wedge to drive people, like to radicalize them further to the right. So they managed to play for suckers every police union and every district office that helped spread the word to their supporters about this event. So good work for that. I'm sure the police did their due diligence to make sure what kind of dogs they were lying down in. So when people show up with neo-Nazi imagery like the Sonnenrad, also known as the black sun or the sun wheel, I think we can take that as a tacit endorsement of neo-Nazi and white supremacist ideology on the part of not only the organization itself but the police they associate with. So I'm sure the police will rush to issue a statement, condemning the display of such iconography. I'm really gonna, just any second now.
Don't hold your breath. But what was the turnout? There were something like 80 protesters and then 700 counter protesters?
Yeah, it wasn't even close. Again, every time this happens in Boston, they get outnumbered to a huge degree. I think a lot of what it is that these groups organize their displays in cities, hoping to get footage of conflict they can use to fundraise with online. There were more rallies like that outside of Boston. Worcester's was actually fairly well attended, but in their defense, they hired an events promo group to get folks to turn out for it. So, I'm glad that's money well spent on the part of the police unions.
The grifting goes pretty far then, I guess. So in Boston news, the city council voted unanimously to put a moratorium on the use of facial recognition software by any part of Boston municipal government. And that'll go to the mayor. I believe he's supposed to sign it, but it doesn't matter because it's a veto-proof majority. So that Boston will be the largest city in Massachusetts to have adopted a moratorium on the use of facial recognition software. And we've seen that happen in Boston a bunch of years back. There was an event where it was a concert and they had surveillance cameras and they were using that as an opportunity to test their surveillance technology, and I think even their facial recognition technology. That was only a few years back. So that stuff is hopefully going to be banned in Boston, which would be a good step.
I want to point out one piece or one concern I have is that the reason these victories are coming so easily is because the police have realized that it's impractical and that there are easier ways to scoop up all of our data, like, for example, stingrays for cell phone data. So much of the protest itself is the reaction to police brutality. So everyone's got their phones, everyone's, posting data to the cloud, and the stingray just scoops all that up. And we are seeing police accumulating this information, waiting for the protest to die down, and then picking off the organizers. Like the police in Columbus, I want to say, have been vanishing protesters into just unmarked black vans in the middle of the day. What was up with that?
Is that like Honan Square? Where do they go? Is that like Honan Square in
Chicago?
In Chicago,
Yeah, Chicago used to have black sites. What was the police that they were just found helping a sex trafficking ring?
That doesn't surprise me, but I'm not sure where that was. Do you remember?
Oh my God, it was just recent. I think it was near Minnesota too, like near the George Floyd epicenter. Let me police human trafficking.
I believe it was in Arizona where recently the police killed someone and they did everything they could to basically hide the fact that they killed, and I believe it was an African American man.
It was the Milwaukee Police Department. It looks like they were trying to move people out of a halfway home and then set it on fire as they were fleeing. The whole community came together, like everyone in the neighborhood came together to just form a human wall and stop it before too much evidence got destroyed.
Wait, they had a halfway home that they were using for sex trafficking?
Yeah, what that's the initial reports coming out have made it seem that the police department was actively complicit in maintaining some sort of human trafficking ring.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need FOSTA and SESTA in that case if you've got the police helping you.
Yep. I'm trying to. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think there is something of a history in that kind of approach. I mean, with organized crime, one of the things that you have to contend with is the police, and the police are arguably easier to contend with when they are on your payroll.
There have been any number of movies set in Boston with that idea in mind, I must say.
I was thinking more of Prohibition, but
yeah,
your point about Boston, well, yeah, that's kind of true too.
So, all right, this happened 5 days ago. 2 teenage girls that were missing since Sunday from 5 days ago have been found. A house, a crowd believed to be connected to their disappearance, has been burned. There was a man who escaped in a van. Fire was spotted. Bloody clothes were found in cars, and the police were not in any kind of a rush to get to the scene.
Were the people who lived in the halfway house evacuated?
Yeah, that was the guy that he escaped.
Oh, okay.
Well, anything else for this week?
I mean, there's some stuff coming up. There's been some new bills that make the Earn It Act look even worse in terms of our privacy, but they're still pretty new. And there's talk of a facial recognition ban at the national level, which I think Markey has one of the folks behind that. We can cover that next week, since those are all really new.
Okay.
Anything else to discuss, gentlemen?
Only dinner.
I have that one as well.
Okay. Well,
all right. Well, thank you all very much for coming out. Thanks for everyone who saw this recording. And please, subscribe to. We try to come out with these once a week. Give thumbs up on the. Thumbs up on this video, on other videos that we have as well, on a variety of topics, as well as press that bell if you want to get absolutely sure that you'll be notified. So thank you very much for the three of you. Thank you, Joe, for organizing this, and thanks everyone for watching. Take care.
Good night.
See ya.
Okay. I'll go tell Joe we're done. And then we can edit it so that that's we can edit it so that that's removed. Mm-hmm. This little chat here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thanks so much.
All right, catch you guys later.
See you on Wednesday.
See you guys.
Bye. Thank you.